The 1971 Dewey Canyon 3 demonstration named after secret bombings in Laos. 1,500 Vietnam veterans against the war descended on the mall in Washington, D.C. This clip shows a few of the hundreds of combat veterans who hurled their medals onto the Capitol steps. Actions like these gave the American people a clear sense that the war was opposed even by those who fought it. That year, Colonel Robert Heinle published a report in the Armed Forces Journal that stated, quote, "The morale, discipline, and battle worthiness of the U.S. Armed Forces are, with few exceptions, lower and worse than at any time in this century, and possibly in the United States." Next slide, please. Richard Bunch. His killing on October 11, 1968 by a stockade guard was a catalyst for the Presidio 27 sit-down. His family contacted us as they were preparing to memorialize the 50th anniversary of his death and shared these images of his grave marker and resting place with us. Can you cue the next one? So the stone that was placed at the foot of his grave reads, as you can see here, "In memory of Rusty, if by my death other lives are made better, I have not died in vain, beloved forever by his family." Next slide. He's buried in a family cemetery in the coal mining region of the Tennessee Hill Country with ancestors who were veterans, some going back as far as the Civil War. I think that by telling his story, we are doing some of the kind of remembering of Rusty and making sure that his death wasn't in vain, that his family was hoping for. So I'd like for us to take a moment of silence for Richard Bunch. Recognize the original members of the Presidio 27. I think we can bring the house lights up for this. The original members of the Presidio 27 who were here with us tonight. Would you please stand? John Paula, Keith Malley, legal drama. I'd like to recognize some of the lawyers involved who are here tonight. Please stand as well. Howard Denite. And last, but by no means least, let us recognize the Presidio 27 community, family, friends, and allies. Please stand. Schnall Susan was an active duty nurse during the Vietnam War. In 1969, she was tried and found guilty by General Court Martial for conduct unbecoming an officer for dropping anti-war leaflets over 5 military bases in the San Francisco area. And wearing her uniform in the GI and Veterans March for Peace on October 12, 1968. She has had an amazing career in nursing and has been a lifelong activist around ongoing issues related to the Vietnam War, especially the health effects of Agent Orange. In 2006, Susan was awarded the Medal for Peace and Friendship between Peoples by the Vietnam Union of Friendship Organizations. Randy Rowland. Presidio 27, who just days before the sit-down had ceremoniously turned himself in after going AWOL at the Presidio gates at the end of the GI and Veterans March for Peace. Randy was raised in a conservative military family, and after leaving college in 1967, he joined the Army and was stationed at Fort Lewis near Tacoma, Washington. Trained as a medic, Rowland found himself taking care of paralyzed and severely wounded men without a convincing explanation for all of the suffering he was seeing. Rowland's early experience as a medic were just the beginning of a long process of questioning and political transformation that would lead him throughout the course of the Vietnam War to a life of activism. He served a 1.5-year jail sentence in Leavenworth Penitentiary for his involvement with the Presidio 27. He is a retired registered nurse from Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. Yeah. Brendan Sullivan was one of the Army defense attorneys for the Presidio 27. Partner at the DC law firm Williams & Connolly LLP. Mr. Sullivan is recognized nationally as one of the best known and most able trial lawyers in America with an extraordinary record of success. The National Law Journal regularly lists him as among, quote, America's 100 most influential lawyers. He is well known for his defense of high-profile clients, including Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North during Iran-Contra hearings. In 2017, Mr. Sullivan was awarded the Champion of Justice Award from the Mid-Atlantic Innocent Project, an organization dedicated to fighting injustice in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia by bringing comprehensive legal assistance to individuals facing wrongful convictions and incarceration. David Cortright. David is a professor of peace studies and director of policy studies at the University of Notre Dame's Kroc Institute for International Peace Studies. He is the author or editor of 20 books, including Soldiers in Revolt, published originally in 1975 and again reissued in 2005, which happens to be the selection for the Presidio Book Club this coming Saturday. I encourage you to attend. You never have to read the book. It's low-stakes book club. In 2002, he co-founded Win Without War, a coalition opposing war in Iraq and advocating peaceful international security policies. Cortright served in the U.S. Army 1968 to 71, at Fort Hamilton, New York, and Fort Bliss, Texas, and was actively involved in the GI anti-war movement. And last but not least, we have Jeff Patterson, who became the first of many U.S. military personnel to refuse to fight in Iraq in August 1990.
Hey, Jeff. Hey.
one of the founders of Courage to Resist, an Oakland-based organization that supports troops who refuse to fight or who face consequences for acting on conscience, including public figures like Chelsea Manning and Reality Winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, welcome this amazing group of people to talk about the Presidio 27 and its connection to the GI movement and the larger implications today. Where do we start? So I was thinking that we should start with talking a little bit about the way the Presidio 27 fit into the larger GI movement.